Hello, first graders. Sorry for the delay in lesson upload today. Sorry I couldn't get on Zoom today. It's just been a very busy day. But I'm home. I'm in my comfy cozies. I got sweatpants. I got slippers on. So, you know, we're keeping it real casual today. And so you guys need your Wonders book for today's lesson. It is Wonders. It's Unit 5. You'll see on the side. And so we are going to be rereading the story that we read on Monday. On Monday, we read the story called A Bird Named Fern. We talked about some things that we see in the sky. We talked about how we see clouds in the sky. We see birds in the sky. We see, you know, the sun, the moon, stars, all those things we talked about, what we see in the sky. And so this story is about a little bird named Fern and the things that she sees in the sky. We discussed that this is a fantasy story, meaning it's made up and things happen in the story that wouldn't happen in real life, like birds talking and birds doing things that only humans really do. After we read this story, we're going to flip to page 57 and we are going to fill out that cause and effect chart. But before we do that, I want to read this to you. It says, remember, a cause is what makes something happen in a story, and an effect is the event that happens. So all of the events together make up the plot. So so we are going to discuss the cause and effect. We've done this before, so we're going to do it again. Okay. Sorry, I got confused there for a second. Okay, so let's read our story. You can open to page 44, and I will read aloud and show you the pictures. Remember, we circled those high-frequency words on Monday when we read this story. So just keep those in mind as we go. It says, Little Fern was always full of questions. She wanted to know everything about the world. I want you guys in that side section of your book, I want you to write that word full. Full. Full is our high frequency word on this page. So I want you guys to get that in your brain. So go ahead and write it in that notes section. Take an annotation of that. It says, one day Fern saw something up in the sky. What is that big white boat doing in the sky? She asked herself. I want to find out. So this is one of our events in our story. This is going, when we go to page 57 at the end, this is going to be one of our effects in our story. Flip your page. It would be great to ride on that big white boat, Fern said. So she stretched her wings and she took off. In my notes section, I'm writing that word great. Great. And I'll show you that at the end so that you can pause it and copy those down if you don't already have them circled. If you already have them circled, go ahead and pause the video and copy them down here. Fern's wings helped her climb up, up, up. But when she got close to the boat, she was surprised to see it looked like a fluffy bed. Fern was sleepy and wanted to rest, so she leaped on the bed, but she fell right through it. I see another bed, said Fern. I will try to land on that one. But the same thing happened again. I'd better go home, cried Fern. Maybe Mom and Dad can explain this. So our two high-frequency words on that page were through and another. So Fern began to fly home. As she did, the beds turned dark gray. Then it started raining. Poor Fern was all about the clouds, added Dad. 57. And I'm just going to grab this book really quick and flip through. Just want to make sure that we didn't miss any of those high frequency words as we were reading. So give me just a second. So we read the story of a bird named Fern. We're past there. Okay. Have the children read it. Okay. So let's talk about what happens to Fern in our story. In our story, something that happened to Fern is that she fell through the cloud. So that's an effect or an event. Fern fell through the cloud. Or what she thought was a bed. The cause of that, the reason she fell through that, was because she tried to lay on it. So Fern's cause was that she tried to lay down on that cloud. Because we talked about on Monday that clouds are made of water and they're very, very thin. So when she tried to lay down on the cloud, she fell right through it. Another effect, the reason that she was looking at the clouds, so she tried to lay on the cloud. The cause of the fact that she was even up there in the first place was because she wanted to see the boat. Remember, at the very beginning of the story, that cloud looked like a sailboat to her, and she wanted to go see it. So she flew up to see that sailboat and realized that it looked kind of like a fluffy bed. She didn't know what clouds were yet. She didn't know what clouds were till she went home and talked with her parents. But as she got close, she saw that it looked like a fluffy cloud, and that's why she tried to lay down on it. One more thing that happened to Fern in the story was that she went home to ask her parents what clouds were. She talked to her parents about clouds because the reason for that was because she fell through the cloud. So because Fern fell through that cloud, she went home to ask her parents about them because she didn't know what they were. Go ahead and pause the video really quick right here. Copy down that information in the cause and effect flowchart. So when I was in first grade, actually, I remember learning about cause and effect, and I remember being really confused by it and not understanding how it worked, how we jumped from that place. And I think what confused me is because my teacher always filled them in backwards. She always did the effect side first before the cause side. Now as an adult, it makes more sense to me, but I want to explain to you why I do that. Because when you look at these are the events that happen. The best way to fill out a cause and effect chart when you're reading a story is to ask yourself, okay, well, who's my main character? In this story, our main character was Fern. And then I went on to ask myself, okay, well, what happened to Fern in the story? These are the things that happened to her. She fell through the cloud. She tried to lay on the cloud. She talked to her parents about that cloud. Those things happened to her. So when you fill in the events that happened to Fern or happened to your main character in the story, then you ask yourself, okay, but why did those things happen? What was the reason? What was the reason that these things happened? What was the because? What was the cause? And that's when you fill in this side. So even as I pulled that book out, it was because I got confused again. I was like, wait a minute, am I doing this correctly? And so that's a great way to think about cause and effect charts is you want to fill in this side first with the events that happened in the story and then look at why those things happened. So she tried to lay on the cloud and she fell through it. She wanted to see the sailboat and then she tried to lay on the cloud. The reason that she laid on that cloud is because she went up there to see the sailboat. She fell through the cloud, or she talked to her parents about clouds because she fell through it and she didn't understand why. So they can be a little confusing sometimes. Hopefully that helped. So that's it for today. If you have any further questions about that, let me know. On Friday, we'll go into that. We'll read a different story and connect them and go into that a little bit more. Tomorrow, you'll need your math book and that completed math homework page, which should be in the description on my last video. So if you have Any questions about that, please let me know. Bye.